Let's talk about some profitability metrics, starting with return on sales. This is an indicator of the overall profit of the company, and it's calculated by taking your net profit after taxes divided by your net sales. So as an example of interpreting this ratio, if you had an ROS of 7%, that would mean that you've got 7 cents in profit after taxes for every dollar of revenue. Is higher better? Well, maybe, but what if you had a high profit margin because you have low expenses in an area that you shouldn't have low expenses? What if you're not paying market average salaries? What if you're not investing in research and development for the future? What if your prices are too high relative to your expenses and customers are going to stop buying from you next year? So your high profit margin in that case might be unsustainable. Return on assets shows how the assets of the business are generating profit, and it's calculated again as net profit after taxes, but this time divided by total assets. So as an example, if you had an ROA of 5%, it means that you're generating 5 cents in net profit after taxes for every dollar of total assets that you've got. And total assets includes cash, invested assets, capital, buildings that you might own, things like that. And generally, you want this number to be higher rather than lower. But again, is higher always better? Not necessarily. What if you're a construction company, let's say, and you're overworking your assets, your machines and your tools, but you still have a high ROA? That could actually be a problem down the road because you may have unexpected maintenance or replacement costs that come up that make having that high ROA a Pyrrhic victory. And this is a case we need to be wary too of comparing ratios across industry where they might make more or less sense. Comparing ROA between a construction company, from our example, with an insurance company wouldn't make sense. These are two very different types of businesses. And let's talk about another profitability ratio, return on equity. And this ratio shows how the capital contributed by the shareholders and also capital that is retained in the business as opposed to being paid out as a dividend is being used to generate profit. And this one is a pretty important metric for any publicly traded company, and it's very important in the insurance industry. And it's calculated net profit after taxes divided by total shareholders' equity. So if you had an ROE of 12%, you're generating 12 cents of net profit after taxes for every dollar of total equity that the owners of the company have invested in the business and retained in the business instead of taking out as a distribution or a dividend.